Hello, I'm Frost. It's January 2021, and welcome to my monthly update on what is going on in the world of sci-fi gaming. Welcome back. So last month obviously was all about Cyberpunk 2077. The media took all the attention on its release, and then in regard to the woes of the old gen consoles and problems with running on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One. As a consequence of that, if you're a Kerbal fan, you may have missed that the Kerbal Space Program update 1.11 actually came out on December 17th. This is the one that was called Some Reassembly Required. I actually talked about this in my November update, although we didn't know when it was going to arrive. Now we know it arrived on December 17th. With this, you get a graphics update to the Julian Moons. We've got some new light parts, we've got some new reaction control systems, and there's some other quality of life updates. And as usual, I will post links to anything that's pertinent in the description below. Now, moving on to new releases. We had a release that was supposed to come out in December, but obviously got delayed because of that game. And quite rightly so, they put it back to January. We still don't have a release date for it yet. This is Everspace II. From Rockfish Games. Like the original Everspace, it is a single player shooter, but this one takes things a lot further. You know, it's like full on 3D now, as well as being a single player shooter. It's an explorer, it's a looter. Apparently there's some RPG elements to it. It looks absolutely beautiful, and we can't wait for this to arrive. And hopefully we're going to get a date any day. That would be lovely. But they did say that they would release it in January. And as it was originally had its release date for December, one must assume that the game is ready, and they're just trying to pick a date. And I would imagine it'll be towards the end of the month. Then we have something completely different. Occasionally I like to mention indie games, and we have Encodia from Assemble Entertainment. Now this game is coming out on January the 26th. As you can see, it's got a very kind of unique look and feel to it. And it is an indie point-and-click adventure game set in a dystopian cyberpunk world. And essentially you have a 9-year-old orphan and a robot on a mission, and you have to help them on their way. And like I say, it looks beautiful. I understand there's about 6 to 7 hours of gameplay, 5,000 lines of dialogue. So, you know, a lot of effort's been put into this, and it'll be interesting to see how this does. You know, a lot of indie games really struggle to get attention, and I like to give them a mention every now and again. So that's kind of it for January, but obviously this quarter we have two big releases incoming, and I just wanted to remind you about them. First one is Elite Dangerous, the Odyssey expansion, which is going to allow Elite Dangerous players to finally walk about on foot on planets and interact with NPCs. It's going to add some RPG elements, and this is big news. This is a big update for Elite Dangerous, and as far as we know, it's still on target for this quarter, and I'm sure Elite Dangerous fans are really looking forward to this. Then the other one, which you may have forgotten about as well, is Exfol Foundation's Cradle of Humanity DLC. So this is the second DLC now for Exfol Foundations. And as with the previous DLC, which name escapes me right now, but it involved the split, we now have 2 new factions, and these are the Terran factions are going to be coming our way, along with new sectors. For these factions, we're obviously going to get the new structures that are going to be Terran structures. And on top of this, we're also getting, and we had a sneaky little preview of this on the Egosoft forums, of an extra large size battleship. It doesn't have a name yet, but it does look super cool. And this will be coming in quarter 1. Also, the thing to be aware of is whenever Egosoft release a DLC, they also release a free update. This will be update 4.0, and I would imagine that will bring sort of graphical updates, quality of life updates, you know, updates to the user interface, things like that. So hopefully they can still keep working on the trade side. That's always the thing that kind of grinds the game to a halt when you get kind of like 100 hours in. You have taken over half the universe. Things start to grind really slowly. So hopefully they've done some more improvements on that with the 4.0 update. Okay, so now we're going to move on to announcements. So obviously we had the Game Awards in December, and as a consequence of that we normally get some announcements, and these are some of the ones that came up during this period. So first up we have Oddworld Soulstorm. So this was originally going to be released I think in 2020, got delayed, but hopefully it's going to be along sometime in the spring 2021. That's what's been announced. And the Mudokons return to us once again, and they have to save their planet. So it's a platformer, but much more from a 3D perspective. And I understand that the game is an expanded recreation of Abe's Exodus, which was originally released for the PlayStation, I think on PC as well, all the way back in 1998. So when you've got a good formula, you drag it out of the archives, and here it is again as Oddworld Soulstorm. Then another franchise that never stops is Warhammer 40,000. So we have a new title incoming for Warhammer 40,000, and it is Darktide. Now this is a first-person co-op, kind of more melee, first-person shooter stroke melee co-op. And we kind of got a good indication of what this game is going to be like because it is produced by Fat Shark. And they produced one for the Warhammer side, the pure fantasy side, which is Vermintide. So this is looks very, very similar to Vermintide. And so they are producing now for Warhammer 40,000. Warhammer 40,000 always creates problems for me. It's very similar to Planetfall, that it's not really sci-fi, it's kind of more fantasy in a space setting. But I still would like to kind of include it as it just seems very difficult to where to draw the line. But anyway, for fans of Warhammer 40k, there's a new title coming your way. Then I am really chuffed about this. Joanna Dark is returning with Perfect Dark. So Perfect Dark was originally released for the N64 all the way back in the year 2000. It was then remastered in 2010. The last time we had a Dark title out was 15 years ago with Perfect Dark Zero, which was released on the Xbox 360. But now, as I said, Joanna Dark returns in this first-person shooter stroke puzzle solver, so it's an action-adventure. We've had the trailer, we don't have release date yet, we know it's set in a sort of near-future dystopian world. Hopefully we'll get more information on this pretty soon. So there you go, so that's kind of everything covered on the announcements, and then we come on to other news. Now, as always, there's EVE Online news because there's always EVE Online news. Now, it is actually kind of really big news. Literally on Wednesday night, this was the 30th of December, there was a battle in the system N2-XFE. And what makes this battle really unusual, it is now officially the most expensive battle that has ever happened in the world of MMO. This record was previously held by the Bloodbath of BTAC R5RB, which took place in January 2014 when 75 Titans were lost and 11 trillion ISK were lost. This time it was a fight over a keep star between the forces of Pappy and the forces of the Imperium. The fight lasted all the way from the evening of Wednesday 30th all the way through to 11 a.m. the next day, so that's 12 to 14 hours, depending on what part of the conflict you came in at. Over 5,000 pilots were involved, 246 Titans died, for a total loss of around 21 trillion ISK, counting all the other ships as well that were included in those losses, which, non-EVE players like to put real-world money value on this. That 21 trillion ISK currently counts out at about $350,000 worth of internet spaceships that died. And the biggest news of that is that literally probably a couple of hours after this video is released, we got round 2 because that was the armor timer on the Keepstar, and there's now a final timer, and all sides are committed to continuing this fight. So I will be reporting on this fully in my regular EVE Online War updates. This one will be coming out on the 4th of January. So you do not want to miss that one. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notifications, and I can tell you all about that as well as other sci-fi gaming titles that I release on a regular basis. Then finally, Warframe's Digital Extremes. I just wanted to mention very quickly, there was a press release that they've been acquired by Tencent. I'm not quite sure where this is going to lead. I just wanted to bring it to the attention of Warframe players. Warframe started off very much as an indie title with its own unique look and feel. Digital Extremes have done extremely well to build a really strong community behind it. Obviously now, I believe they already got taken over by kind of a Hong Kong-based gaming company, and then that company got bought by Tencent. But it was just some news, wanted to bring it up. And that's a wrap for me for this month. So obviously January is always a little bit quieter. So we'll be February and March, and then obviously we'll get into the spring, and then more new titles will be starting to come out. Hope you enjoyed that. I will see you on the next one. Right, bye for now.